Not all car designs are a hit with consumers, no matter how creative they might look on paper. Welcome to Trending Tickets, and in this video, we're going to look at the top 10 car designs that failed. Make sure to stick around for our number 1 pick because that one is the ultimate car design fail. Number 10. Honda Insight 1999. At number 10 is the Honda Insight, which was a hybrid electric car. It was a 2-seater vehicle that came with manual transmission controls and, for some reason, optional air conditioning. Honda released this car to public sale in December 1999 and advertised it as the first hybrid vehicle to be sold in North America, beating the similarly hybrid Toyota Prius in the market by about 7 months. Everything sounded great, but unfortunately the Insight had so many things going wrong. The first thing is that it was trying to be too many things at once, and though the Insight originally boasted a fuel economy of 53 miles per gallon, subsequent design changes decreased its mileage per gallon. The Honda Insight also had battery issues, and reports show that an Insight battery only lasted 6 to 8 years. That's pretty short. Lastly, Honda oversaturated its own market by introducing other hybrid vehicles such as the Honda Civic and CR-Z. With 3 choices for hybrids, consumers were left baffled and most chose not to buy Honda, leading the car manufacturer to pull out the Insight from production. Number 9. Ford Thunderbird 2002. The Ford Thunderbird enters this list at number 9. This 2-seater car was first introduced in 1958 as an upscale model that paved the way for the personal luxury car industry. In 2002, Ford released a new Thunderbird design nicknamed the Retro Bird. As its name suggests, the Ford revival featured retro designs that surprised car enthusiasts. However, unlike its predecessor, the Retro Bird wasn't as successful on the market. Ford made the mistake of relying on nostalgia and thought that the car would achieve success if it appealed to people who were familiar with the original Thunderbird. Instead of coming up with something new and innovative, Ford decided to stick to tried and tested methods. By that time, though, only a few people would have known about the original version, and as a result, only a few consumers bought the Retro Bird. Numbers suggest that all in all, only 60,000 units of the vehicle were sold in its first 4 years, leading Ford to kill off the retro version from production. Number 8. Chrysler Crossfire. Next, at number 8 is the Chrysler Crossfire. It was manufactured in Germany by automobile manufacturer Karmann from 2004 to 2008. Chrysler marketed the Crossfire as a sports car with a rear-wheel drive and a 2-seater layout. This car's moniker comes from the 2 character lines that run from the rear to the front along the sides of the body. The lines have creased directions that meet below the mirrors on door panels. As with most of the cars on this list, the Crossfire had a host of issues. One is the ancient steering wheel that was somehow still based on the antiquated recirculating ball model, which made it difficult to handle. Needless to say, with a tough steering wheel like in the Crossfire, every ride in this car was bound to be rough. The manual transmission also had problems as the clutch was defective, while the engine was having recurrent failures that wouldn't go away. In other words, every Crossfire unit, no matter the age, eventually suffered from engine failure. And if that wasn't enough, almost every component of this car received some form of complaint from Crossfire owners who found the windows, windshields, and interior components not up to par. Number 7. Chevrolet SSR. Heading off to number 7 is the Chevrolet SSR, or Super Sport Roadster, which Chevrolet first introduced as a concept at the Detroit Auto Show in 2000. It was lauded for its unique design, which was a convertible pickup truck that had a retractable hardtop, and Chevrolet got to work on it immediately. The Chevy SSR was released in 2003 and had a design that combined the American classic pickup truck and a classic convertible, in addition to a 2-piece retractable roof, which had a dedicated space for it between the cabin and the cab. Quite simply put though, with the roof retracted, the SSR was just a topless pickup, and that's where the troubles began. Numbers from its short production life say that only 25,000 units of the SSR were sold. One reason for the low sales was the price. It was considered too high for something that wasn't really a car, but not a truck either. At almost $42,000, only a handful of consumers were willing to part with that amount of money for something like the SSR. So if you were disappointed by the Chevy SSR, you'll be even more upset by the time number 1 rolls around. Number 6. Lexus HS250H. Moving on to number 6 is a vehicle from the luxury division of Toyota. the Lexus HS250H, which was a hybrid vehicle that was considered a compact under Japanese regulations because of the dimensions of its exterior and how its engine was placed. The HS250H was Lexus's first foray into the hybrid vehicle industry and was advertised as the only luxury hybrid car. However, that's exactly what the problem was with the HS250H. Although Lexus tried to combine luxury sedans and hybrid pods, the attempt was unsuccessful and considered mediocre at best. In fact, even with a Camry hybrid powertrain, the HS250H lagged behind Prius models when it came to fuel economy. What's more was that the rear seats posed a problem as they were difficult to fold. The name of the car was also made fun of by consumers who thought that it sounded like the name of an inner-city public school. For these reasons and more, the Lexus HS250H didn't last more than 3 years on the market. Number 5. Cadillac XLR. Continuing with these failed car designs, at number 5 is the Cadillac XLR. When this car from Cadillac came out, it offered various features that either came with the standard model or were available as upgrades. These included touchscreen GPS navigation, a radio with AM/FM settings, CD changers, satellite radio, full voice control, and most impressively, a full voice-branded audio system. Sounds pretty loaded, doesn't it? It even had softer suspension and a folding roof. So it's a wonder why the XLR was killed off production in 2009. Perhaps it was the less for more concept that it had going and the fact that its design seemed half-baked, the execution was even worse. As a result, the XLR had horrible interiors and build quality that wasn't even close to vehicles in its category. Despite all these problems, however, Cadillac sold the XLR for $75,000, which was still $20,000 higher than the similarly loaded Corvette. Number 4. Acura ZDX. At number 4 is the Acura ZDX, which was a mid-sized crossover SUV by Honda, which it created for its luxury brand Acura. The ZDX was the Acura's first model that had 6-speed automatic transmission as well as advanced ventilated seats, plus other luxury features. However, despite these upgrades, the ZDX had several flops in its design. Much like BMW's X6, the Acura ZDX was based on an earlier model that worked, the MDX. The only change was that Acura wanted to go for a more sporty look, and in order to do that, car designers at Acura took out part of the rear section to give the silhouette a more aggressive but tapered look. Although the design change did make ZDX look edgier, it came at the cost of practicality as the rear seats became more cramped and storage space at the back could only fit small bags. However, unlike the other cars on this list, and despite ongoing complaints from consumers, the ZDX remains in production. Number 3. Lexus LS 600HL. Lexus dominates this list of fails with another model, the Lexus LS 600HL. Released as the flagship Lexus model, the Lexus LS 600HL, or LS for short, was a full-size luxury sedan. Since its release, it has since gone through several generations, with the first 4 LS generations having V8 engines and mostly rear-wheel drive, though Lexus did offer variants that were all-wheel drive, hybrid, and long wheelbase. But what makes this vehicle a failure? Well, for starters, it wasn't an eco-friendly car despite being advertised as a hybrid. In addition, the LS had to be supported by more energy from its 2 electric motors, with some calculations saying that it would take a consumer 109 years to break even on the fuel costs. In other words, the cost to run and keep an LS was simply too difficult to justify, which is why it is number 3 on this list. Number 2. Mitsubishi i-MiEV. Number 2 on the list is the Mitsubishi i-MiEV. The i-MiEV, which is an acronym that stood for Mitsubishi Innovative Electric Vehicle, was a hatchback electric car that had 5 doors. When it was first released, the i-MiEV was the world's first ever mass-produced electric car that could be driven on a modern highway. In fact, Mitsubishi advertised that a Japanese test cycle was able to measure the maximum distance that the i-MiEV could travel on a single charge, 160 kilometers or 100 miles. While electric cars have undergone several improvements over the years and now have aesthetically pleasing interiors, impressive performances, and a decent range, the i-MiEV did not meet any of these factors. In fact, coupled with its odd design is the fact that its range was really short. It also took a long time to hit 60 miles per hour at a record of 14.7 seconds. And to make matters worse, some consumers have described its interiors as resembling that of golf carts. At best, the i-MiEV ranks one step above public transportation. Number 1. Nissan Murano CrossCabriolet. And last but not the least is the Nissan Murano CrossCabriolet at number 1. It was a mid-size crossover that was manufactured and sold by Nissan from May 2002 until 2014. Considered a vehicular oddity, the CrossCabriolet combined the body of an SUV with the roof of a convertible sports car. Unsurprisingly, this car was heavy and very elevated. It had only 2 doors and came with continuously variable transmission, which is supposed to mean that it didn't use gears. As a result, sitting in this car was like experiencing an earthquake because it vibrated at top speeds. The CrossCabriolet was so horrible that a car magazine claimed that drivers will hate this car, and not only because of its steep price of $45,000, but also because of other glaring issues. It resembled a coupe that ate too much junk because of how bulky it looked. The CrossCabriolet also lacked modern efficiency and its mediocre engines only achieved average fuel economy. And even though its 2 doors made it look sporty, the design made entry and exit difficult because of the tight squeeze. Still, the CrossCabriolet remained on the market for well over a decade before Nissan pulled the plug due to decreasing sales. So, which of our picks did you agree with? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, then you'll like our other video on the strangest car designs. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe and hit the bell so that you'll be notified when we come out with new content.